Nate Herk, welcome to the show. Good to see you here.
Julian, great to be here. Yeah, thanks for having me.
For anyone who's not familiar with you, how would you describe yourself and what you do?
Yeah, I guess I would say that I've gone pretty niche with my YouTube. I mean, it's AI automation, definitely tailored towards people that don't have coding background. I didn't come from a technical background, but pretty primarily end to end. So if you go on my channel, I would say 99% of my videos are end to end for no coders.
That's interesting. And how long have you been doing automation for?
Yeah, it's a good question because I think a lot of people feel like automation is something new because of this whole AI sort of boom. But realistically, it's been around for a long time. And I actually got started with automation my junior year of college. So that would have been in 2023, about 2 years ago. I was working or I went out to do an internship for Goldman Sachs in business intelligence, kind of just a fancy word for automation. And that's where I got started. And I was using a tool called Alteryx. Ended up accepting that full time job, and then sort of when I was like preparing for my full-time role once I graduated college, that's when I dove into the end and sort of like make.com AI automation rabbit hole. So it's been maybe, I'd say maybe a little over a year of experience of kind of hands-on automating.
Pretty insane, like just a little over a year, but for what you've built, I mean, for anyone watching, like your school is absolutely crushing it. I saw the MR in the school games for your school group, for example. Like, congrats. How did you move so fast on that?
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate it. It's been a super fun journey. Um, I've learned a lot of lessons because I know when you spin up a school, I don't know when you spun yours up, like what kind of the end goal or like the motivation was. And I'm sure we're still kind of like changing and navigating with the ebbs and flows of business. But my motivation was just like I had a free school community and I was making connections on in the community. You know, people were hitting the DMs and I was talking to people, and I just wanted to be able to connect with people on a bit deeper of a level. And I thought that that was kind of going to be a good way to have a community of people that were a little more, I don't know, taking it seriously, I guess. So it kind of was like a side hustle motivation for me, and just build community. But it ended up coming into kind of like a full business where I've kind of had to build a team around it and things like that. I'd say the point where I actually was able to break through and realize what was needed to grow a community to this size was when I brought on my growth operator back in April. I brought him on, like I said, at this point it would have been 5 months into the community, and we were, growing really fast. But I was starting to realize that I was a bit too hands-on with every aspect of it. And the true way that I was going to keep growing it was if I could put more time into, that top of funnel. So the YouTube channel. And so my growth operator helps me get the pieces in place as far as like we need to be collecting more data. And coming from a background of automation and kind of analytics, you would have thought that I would be like prioritizing collecting data, but I was just like, I was just going. So we started collecting data. We started understanding, two things that got really clear was who do we want? Who is our actual primary type of customer, our ICP? And then when someone leaves, why are they leaving? And so once we started to collect all that sort of data and make all of our decisions to basically help, one or the other one of those reasons there, we started to see a lot more success.
That's interesting. So you got really clear on like the avatar and the reasons for churn, and then just focused on nailing both for those, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, and our primary motivation there was how can we get people to upgrade to the annual membership? Because that naturally kind of reduces churn. And that also proves that that is the ideal type of person we want here. Someone that is kind of here for the long haul, not just like for a month to absorb material and then leave, and really sort of try to build that community aspect where even when someone feels like they have, like I said, kind of absorbed all of the educational material on there, they still stick around for, connections, navigating this AI space that's constantly evolving. And yeah, that's definitely kind of when we go to make decisions, we want to hear what our annual members want and what they're looking forward to. And that's really helped us kind of get a lot clearer because there's a lot of noise, and there's so many opportunities out there because we're all so early to this space right now, and there's a lot there's a lot of cool things you can do. And so just kind of picking one area and going deep, I think is a good way to start, and then you can kind of broaden out a bit from there.
Yeah, that makes sense. You must have seen it before. I've experienced this. Is like with school, you can kind of hit like a plateau, and then it takes a while to break through that. It might drop slightly, and then you go back up again. Have you seen the same?
100%. 100%. And what we've noticed is I'm not sure how often you're running like certain, promotions or new courses or whatever it is, but that's typically what's keeping us growing, We're kind of at a point where roughly, we're having about the same people come in organically, and luckily we get a lot of organic traffic from the YouTube, which is good. But as people come in, people are also kind of churning out. And so, that's when you kind of hit that plateau. And if you're able to have, some sort of promotion where you can just get more eyes on the about page, hopefully your conversion rate's good enough to, you know, have that naturally mean more customers. But no, it's really interesting. I mean, that's kind of what I was alluding to earlier when I realized how many things you just don't know about a community. There's so many little metrics to look for. There's so many different levers that you can pull. And I'd really be curious to hear too from you what you've noticed with plateaus and how you sort of break through those. Like for a real quick example, right now, I would say we kind of have noticed a bit of a plateau. And I think there's seasonal aspects, right? Like in January, we exploded because everyone's like, "Oh man, this is my year." But then when you've got summer, sometimes you see a bit of a slowdown. I think Thanksgiving and Christmas, we might see another bit of a slowdown as well. But we're actually wrapping up a challenge right now that we're kind of experimenting with. Kind of took it right out of Hermosi's Money Models book, but it's like a win your money back offer. So it was a 2-week challenge. People paid $99 to get in, and that was just a deposit. And if they complete all of the assignments throughout the 2 weeks, then they win that money back. But then we're basically going to be able to say, hey, you could take this $100 deposit back, or we'll give you, like 300, 400 off our annual membership. And so we're hoping we'll be able to convert a lot of these people because they're already bought into the idea of community. They're already kind of like, they've got the momentum going of building these 3 agents, and then they're ready to kind of keep it going. So that's just an example of like one of the quarterly or, sort of like timely promotions that we're doing to try to break through those plateaus. But would definitely be interested to hear from you as well, kind of your perspective on plateaus, promotions, and things like that.
Yeah, so usually what we do is we have like a tracker where we track day to day, like, okay, what's the conversion rate? What's the retention rate? How much traffic are we getting to the About Me page? I love the way school simplifies it as well. So it's super easy to see, okay, where are these metrics? Because most platforms don't do that. And then from there, I'll try and look at, okay, which of those numbers can we improve drastically? So, for example, when we first started our school, our our churn rate was 20%. And so instantly we just attacked that pretty viciously in terms of like how to improve it. And now the churn rate is like 9.5% or something like that. So because of that, then we could grow again. We had seasonal situations like you mentioned as well, so it would like go up and down during the seasons. I think we'll, like you say, see a bit of a slowdown recently, and then also the conversion rates. So, for example, like we started running like new offers every week to keep people interested. So we'll do like, for example, again from Hormozzi's book, we took like, for example, 10-to-1 deals, or like, for example, a 7-to-1 deal, or buy one get one free, etc., and run those. And we saw like our conversion rate was 0.9% at one point, and then it went up to like 2.5% just from doing that. So running a lot of new offers helped as well. That was a big thing. And then I think at the minute we're kind of at a plateau again. So I'm trying to figure it out and try and work it out. One of the things that we're experimenting with is Facebook ads, and then also training up affiliates inside the community too. So we're going to run a challenge for affiliates.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. That's something that we're planning out for Q1 of next
Nice.
year. Is we need to start utilizing that affiliate feature more. It's just an amazing feature that schools got, and yeah, just trying to figure out the right way to, promote it a little bit more, and to make people realize how good of a deal it truly is to get lifetime recurring revenue from just inviting some friends in. So, yeah, I love that. I think that's going to be a huge unlock for you guys, I'm sure, and hopefully for us as well. I mean, it's just if you can make every customer worth essentially two or three, it's that's the self growth right there. Yeah. Besides, like, not relying on a YouTube video to explode, because obviously that will naturally send tons more to the about page. So
Yeah, yeah, that's it. Like, does your most of your sales come from YouTube directly?
Yeah. Yeah. I guess so. I noticed that you have a free school as well. And I would say if you kind of look at the numbers, right? Like right now I've got about 430 on YouTube and about 180 in the free group. So that conversion is, under 50%. And then from there, from free to the paid, we've got, about 180 to about 2.9K. So thinking about it and as like kind of that funnel where it's like, it continuously goes down. And then we're obviously looking to have a ascension offer for the people in our current low ticket paid community. Um, but yeah, we also are experimenting a little bit with the ads. I mean, I think that when you say you're experiencing or you're thinking about the Facebook ads, um, I'm assuming you're thinking to go towards sort of like that warm audience of people that have maybe viewed your about page or maybe some YouTube retargeting or something there. Because I don't think we've experimented with any cold ads, but I'm not like I don't really come from the ad space. This is just what I've been talking to my growth guy about. But um, yeah, I mean, I think when you think about these communities, the moat truly is just kind of like trust. And I think, like when people watch a ton of your videos and then they realize that they like your style and they trust that what is in your kind of behind your paywall is going to be also valuable and more valuable than what you've got out there for free. Um, because what my gut's telling me is most of us creators out there that have these communities, that what's inside is pretty similar. But what you can't fake is the culture of the people in there, and of course, just the authenticity of your personal style, and things like that.
Yeah, that's something I've been thinking about recently. Is like, for example, if you look at we do a lot of avatar videos, or we've done a lot of avatar videos the year. Where it's like the AI version of me,
Yeah,
and they can get a lot of views quite easily. But I'm wondering, okay, maybe that reduces trust, which reduces conversion rates, and then at a certain level, maybe that stops you from growing as well.
mm, that's interesting. So I did actually, I didn't know that that was on your channel for a while until I was talking to someone, one of the AI guys, and we were looking at that, and we realized that I mean, it was like your SEO, like strategy of just like getting things out that are trendy or like a new thing drops and like just kind of being there for when people search for it. And I was like, that's actually like really, really smart. So I'd be curious, like, when did you start kind of doing that? And I guess now is it like you're split between when you do a video like that or when you get on there yourself and do it?
Yeah, so I started doing that around March or April, and I published a few, but I was like, the views were not that good on it. And then I took another crack at it in, I think it was around July, and basically said, right, no matter what, I'm going to crack the code on AI avatar videos and just publish them consistently, even if they get lower views, because I'll eventually figure out like how to get a lot of views on them. So I just kept focusing on creating more and more, publishing like 2 to 3 a day, and then eventually figured out, okay, right, if we create videos around certain topics, they're going to pop off even if they're avatar videos. So yeah, just started experimenting from then really, and publishing more and more. And it it's good. I mean, like we have more views than ever on YouTube, which was awesome. But I think my plan now is to have my main YouTube channel was like human content only, because I think a lot of people want that and crave that trust and that connection. And then on my other channels, I'll create AI avatar videos, and people have the option of using them if they want to watch them.
Yeah.
Which
I mean,
again, great.
I think it's a really good idea. I
Yeah.
think it's a really good strategy because you've got like obviously you still have your own brand reputation and the people that trust you as a human. And then you have people like me who are, they love the AI space and they're like, this is actually like genius. This is really smart. And they're able to like maybe they see one of your videos that's an avatar and maybe they don't subscribe to that channel or love that concept, but ultimately that will probably get them to your human channel. It just really expands the amount of eyes that you can get on your brand as a whole. And I think that that brings in people that could be more likely to, want to learn from you because they're interested in that technique or whatever it is. I think um, I had a really interesting conversation with Nick Sarev. Um, gosh, early in 2025, like when I was kind of just getting started, I'd quit my job and I was just trying to like meet some people in the space. And this was right kind of before he started doing his daily updates channel. I don't know if you've seen that at all.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, it's really good.
I think
Yeah.
he's I think he's slowed down a little bit on it, but I really liked like why he was doing it and what he was thinking about because essentially he started thinking about, am I like optimizing my YouTube channel for views, or am I optimizing for like dollar per view or dollar per subscriber? And so with his daily updates channel, it wasn't, none of those videos were ever going to go viral. He was just kind of talking about what he did today and like what he thinks about the space and answering comments. But whoever has subscribed to that channel and watches them every day is like a super fan, and just so likely to buy um, whatever kind of offer that Nick wants to promote because they're just so bought into him and they trust him. And so I think it's kind of a similar approach, but with a bit of a different method there. But I totally understand that, and like I said, when I saw that, I was like, that's really smart. Just kind of take up more search engine space on trending topics.
Yeah, for sure. Have you ever been tempted? Obviously, YouTube is bringing a lot of traffic for you, and I think you create like one video maybe every day or every other day, something like that. From what I've seen, when it comes to content creation, have you been tempted to like, Alex or Moses style, increase the volume so that you get more inputs in and more traffic, or are you kind of just trying to go slowly so that you keep the quality high?
Yeah, it's my content strategy is pretty sporadic. Like there have been some weeks where I've done one every day. There have been some weeks where I've really just kind of pumped the brakes and taken it slow. Um, and I think, it's a mix of, I have a Google Doc where I just have tons of different builds I could do, tons of ideas. And honestly, that list grows faster than I can fulfill those videos. And then there's those times where, a new chat model drops or N8N drops an update. And I'm like, okay, today I'm clearing my plate. I just got to make a video and I got to get it out. Um, and I guess what I've kind of realized is I think that there's an element also of like viewer fatigue that you kind of want to consider. And, I'm definitely not an expert, but what I did notice is that a lot of videos were slipping through. And I found myself, as my cadence was higher, sending people in my communities videos a lot. Like they would ask me questions like, yeah, I covered that here, or I have a full video on this. And I think just because like realizing the average person, they've got their full-time job, they have maybe family, kids, wife, husband, um, college, whatever it is. And so they're not going to be able to spend much more than like an hour a day on YouTube, truthfully. And it's not like they're only subscribed to me. They're subscribed to you, Nick, Hermosi, like, tons of different people. And so I just kind of started to think about that cadence. And what I've actually been more tempted to do was to get on a schedule where I uploaded just once a week, like on Sundays, or maybe twice a week on Wednesdays and Sundays, and just try to think about maybe I could get in a more predictable release schedule so people knew, oh, it's Wednesday night. I can't wait for Nate's video tonight. That's what I've been tempted to try. But so far, I just haven't because I think we're in a really interesting opportunity right now where tons and tons of people are making AI content and tons of people are seeing, success and being rewarded for that. But, I think that gap in supply and demand is going to start to sort of even out. And maybe that's when I might try to pump the brakes a little bit once I feel like I've got, I've got some things figured out and I've maybe like been able to carve out a little bit of my market in this space. But I don't know. It's an interesting game. It's ultimately I think the algorithm's a bit of a black box, just like an AI model.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. What's your plan for school? Like, how big do you want to grow it?
Oh man, I don't know. I don't know. It's so I launched my school community less than a year ago. I launched it in the end of November last year, and a lot of people have asked me that. Like, are you positioning, for an exit one day, or what do you want to do with it? I know one thing for sure is that I want to get it to a place where it doesn't just rely on me as far as top of funnel and potentially even content wise. Like I think, my free community is called AI Automation Society and my plus group is called AI Automation Society Plus. And I would love to be able to build a brand around AI Automation Society where I have maybe members as content creators and they're putting like an AI Automation Society YouTube channel. and we're bringing people in from other channels, and we're just kind of creating this brand ecosystem a little bit. I'd say that's kind of definitely a goal for me. Um, but as far as like, a number of members or a certain number of revenue, I don't really have like a North Star there. I think I just want to continue to make it a space where really, regardless of your background, you can improve your performance at work or you can start a new business. And that's what's made me, that's what's been the most rewarding is when people tell me that because of these videos they were able to do something. I had actually the craziest experience I've had so far. Um, I was Ubering to a restaurant to meet up with some of my friends, and just chatting to the Uber driver. They're watching the road. You're in the back seat, and we were just talking about like what we do. And we eventually got onto the AI path. And I told him I was like, yeah, I actually I run an AI business, and we started talking about tools. And he mentioned N8N, and I was like, no way, that's like the tool I use the most. And he ends up like kind of looking back and does a double take, and he was like, oh my god, are you Nate Herk? And that was one of the coolest experiences ever because first of all, just kind of getting recognized in a random Uber, but then from there, he told me that he was like planning to quit Uber driving in like a few weeks because of being able to start getting some clients and build automations for. And he's like, yeah, I learned it all from your channel. So something like that was just a really cool experience to know that someone could, like I said, come from any background and kind of change their life with this whole AI paradigm shift that we're seeing.
That's amazing, man. Yeah, good to see you having an impact there as well. I saw like another one where I think you won the N8N competition,
Oh
and with the
yeah,
money you won, you donated to charity, right?
I did. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
dude, that's
It,
awesome, man.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it was a really cool opportunity to do that, right before it happened because it was me and Jack Roberts. And right before we went up there, we were getting our hair and makeup done in this little studio and I was like, "Man, this is bizarre." But right before that, Max from NNN comes in and he was like, "Hey guys, I just talked to Luis, and if whoever wins wants to donate the money to charity, NNN will match it." And I was like, absolutely. This is just such a cool opportunity. Me and Jack were both like, yeah, I mean, whoever wins, this is for fun. This is awesome. We'll give it to charity. And the fact that Enidin was going to match that, I thought was just awesome. So that was a really it was a really interesting experience. It was really cool. It was like a 30-minute video on YouTube, but that was like it was like a 7-hour shoot day. It was an all day thing. People were running around. Max was really stressed. It was really fun though. Definitely a once in a lifetime opportunity.
And then also, I know you're going to the school games. I'm going to the school games mastermind. How do you typically find those? Like, what do you usually take away from them?
Yeah, they're super fun. They're super fun. It's like an all day thing. Sam gets up there and talks about why he built school. He talks about what we have in the future. He does a little bit of chatting with Hermosi up on stage about what they're seeing in the space and why they're so bullish on community. But the coolest part is being in a room with what is it, 50 other people, 49, I guess, other people who are building communities. Just the most random topics you could ever know, and hearing everyone be in this space of like, how can we all help each other win? What strategies am I using that your school could use, or vice versa? And everyone's just kind of like sharing different stories and collaborating on things, and it's just um, a really cool energy, because everyone, like I said, you've got dog trainers, you've got witches, you've got magicians, you've got people that teach other people how to ride bikes, or not like how to ride bikes, but like distance biking, like just really cool hobbies and passions that have turned into essentially, full-time income and jobs. So it's just an environment that I've never felt before. So I'm really excited to go back and excited to meet you in person.
You too. Looking forward to it. Wow. Really appreciate you jumping on the podcast today. What's the best place for people to find you?
Yeah, 100%. I would say probably my YouTube channel, Nate Herk, if you're interested in learning about AI automation and specifically N8N. And then from there, you'll be able to find out any other little things that I've got going on that you might be interested in. But yeah, thanks so much for having me on today, Julian.
Awesome. Thanks so much.